So let's have a nice big warm welcome to our guest this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here she is. So what's it like to be back in Hinckley after all this time?
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's really nice. And you didn't expect this sort of reception, really?
Not really.
No. People here will probably not know, but would you like to tell the ladies and gentlemen your young age?
90 years old.
90 years old, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. This lady is truly fantastic. Now then, we'll start at the very beginning. So, whereabouts was you born?
Clarence Road.
Mm-hmm. And Clarence Road in them days would be a dirt track, I would imagine.
Just about. Yes, it was. Yeah. Then we moved to the middle of Queen's Road. Let's see, four years old. Right. I was, yes. Okay. Yeah.
So you can remember things in Queen's Road, like Queen's Road nurseries and things like that?
The fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
Lanscoby's.
Yeah.
Lanscoby's fish and chip shop, to me, was the best fish and chip shop in the area. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is one of your earliest childhood memories?
Playing in the Queen's Park. Oh, that was a lovely park, right behind our home.
And what school did you attend when you was in Hinckley?
St. Peter's Catholic School. And in behind St. Peter's was St. Albert's, the convent school, where all the elite Europeans came to be educated.
And there you go. And did it work?
I think so, I'm sure.
Okay.
After paying that much money, yes, it must have.
So what was the what was there to do around Hinckley? You know, when you was kid growing up, what were the sort of things you used to get up to entertain and amuse yourselves?
Oh, well, in the park, just playing in the park after school. But I enjoyed bicycling. I was in a bicycling club, a hiking club, and dancing at the old George's Hall. Yes. Yeah. And this is where I met my husband on St. Patrick's. It was a St. Patrick's Day dance. And I was in a red dress. And he tapped me on the shoulder and wanted to find out what was on the other side of the red dress. Oh, well, yeah, you better believe it. And contrary to the fact that they thought the Americans were over here, overpaid and oversexed, I was very surprised to know that he had great values. Yes, he did. And his mother was French Canadian, and his father was Irish, Boston Irish. And I left home to marry him. I left one lovely mother and father, and I went to a wonderful mother. His mother was a wonderful, wonderful woman. I was like an angel, really. She was there with me when I had each of my children. I had 6 children, 4 girls and 2 boys. The oldest was a boy, the youngest was a boy, and the 4 girls in between.
I just wondered if you called the boys bookends or not, you know.
Just about, yeah. I could have.
You could have done. You could have done. Yeah. So what was family life like for you back in those days?
Wonderful.
Right from being at home and,
And until the war years came along. Everybody, I mean, we didn't have the enjoyment out of life that we could have because there were you couldn't get petrol. So we had to ride our bicycles. And I worked in Burbage for Harold Robinson and in the Land Army. My mother didn't want me to go away from home into the ATS. She thought I was too young and she wanted me around where she could see what I was doing. So anyway, I worked for Harold Robinson. And of course, he is a wonderful nurseryman. Mm-hmm. And I worked for him for the 4 years. Over the war years, I worked for Harold Robinson.
So when you left school, I mean, obviously,
yes.
When people leave school, I mean, these days they're off to university. They take a year out before they've done anything. But I don't know how that works. But in your day, I mean, to leave school, did you leave school sort of, let's say, early to take up work, or did you wait until the?
No. I started at 4 years old. Then you started at 4 years old. And I was in school till I was 14. I went to work at Pratt and Copeland in the church walks there. Yes. I went to work there for about 3 years. Then the war came along, and I worked in munitions for a year and a half. Went on to work in the Land Army.
Yeah. So we've already talked about, when the troops arrived, when the Yank boy came.
Oh well, never. Now let's. First were the Polish boys, then the Australians, then the Canadians, then the Yanks.
Right.
And my father came home from work one evening, and he said, "I've just seen a lorry load of Yanks." And he said, "If you're going to the dance tonight, be careful. They're over here, but they're gone tomorrow." And that's what he used to tell us.
Really?
My older sister and myself, we'd be getting ready to go to the dance, and he'd say, "Be careful." And he said that every night for 4 years. This is when I met my husband. Yeah.
I mean, we've all heard the stories about when the Yanks arrived, and there always makes me laugh. Said they came over with the stockings. I thought Yanks with stockings on always looks a bit funny, but they came over with with the chocolate, the chewing gum, the nylons and stuff. I mean, did that make an impression on you?
Not really. No, because I didn't have any. I had my own stockings, and I gave my coupons up for a little box of Cadbury chocolates to sit on the back row of the Danilo, the Odeon, and the Regent.
Oh wow!
Well, this is what what was there to do?
Yeah.
Oh, and dancing. Yeah, he loved to dance.
Yeah. So when you met him at the George on that fateful evening, I mean, did you already know? Thought, cool, he's a bit of all right, or I mean, was
when he came to there was a group of us girls standing together. One of my best friends said, "Oh my God, a Yank's coming over here to dance with one of us." And they were preening themselves, and I said, "Oh, for God's sake, they'll think we're ladies of the evening if you keep that up." Anyway, he tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned to look at him, and it was then that I knew this is the man I want to be with the rest of my life.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Brilliant.
And after we got to know one another, he said the same thing to me. He said that when I looked at you, that was it.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that fantastic?
Yes.
Really, really.
And I never dreamed I'd ever be going to America because they were getting ready for the invasion. Yeah. And of course, you never, I didn't know whether we were going to be coming back or not.
Yeah. So, that's right. Yeah. I was going to ask, obviously, when you left Hinckley.
Yes.
What year did you actually leave Hinckley?
1947.
So just after the war in
1947. The 20. How long did it take us to come over? I came over on the. I went over there on the QE2 from Southampton, cabin class, not first class. Yeah. So, anyway, I got there, and his mother and his aunt and uncle were waiting for me on New York Harbour, because Vern couldn't come on to marry me yet from Fort Bragg in North Carolina. So until he could come then, his two sisters and his mother took me out and got me my trousseau. Now...
your trousseau, does anybody know what a trousseau is?
Yes.
I don't. What's a trousseau?
It's supposed to have been my wedding, right. All the regalia. Okay. But it was Lent, and in the Catholic faith then, you couldn't get married in white in Lent, which is a period before Easter. So we got, and we didn't have the money really. We had about, $300 or $400 in the bank, and an old jalopy that were about to fall apart. So they took me down and got me and I wore a beautiful suit, a blouse, and a hat, of course. Okay. Then you wore hats for church. After we got married, his mother and his aunt wanted to come with us on our...
Right.
Yes. To meet all his relatives up in Bangor, Maine. It's about 2 hours away from his mother. His father worked in the war years. His father worked at the shipyards down in Portland, Maine. which is right on the coast, of course, on the coast. They wanted to come with us on our honeymoon to meet the whole family. And we had our honeymoon when we went back to Fort Bragg, which is a couple of days' ride from where his mother lived in South Portland. But I couldn't have gone to a better mother.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, lovely.
Wonderful.
I'm just curious, as when you arrived in the States, what impression did it make on you as you arrived there on the ship on that day?
The first thing I saw was the Statue of Liberty. And I got very emotional because I'd never dreamed I'd ever be going to America. And when I saw that, I thought, oh, my God, this is overwhelming. And his mother, well, absolutely wonderful. Vern's mother's in-laws that had come with her to New York. We stopped off at a place called White Plains in going up the coast to go to Portland, Maine. We stopped off with them overnight, and they were absolutely wonderful people. And then the next morning, we started on the train, and would you believe it, it started snowing. And when we got towards Portland, Maine, the snow was 2 feet deep. And our wedding day, the snow was on the ground, but the sun was out. And yeah, beautiful
it was a white
day.
wedding.
Yeah, absolutely. No, not a white. Yeah, it was a white
yes,
wedding, as in.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So.
And then after that, after our honeymoon up north, we started on our other honeymoon going back down to Fort Bragg in North Carolina. From Fort Bragg in North Carolina, we were there for 12 years, and I had my first 4 children there. After that, Vern had come back from Korea. He went to Korea for 2 years. Then he came back, and we started out then from Fort Bragg to Germany. And this is where Anne was born. My 5th child. Then, after Germany, we went right across the other side of the States to Fort Ord in California. We were there for 3 years, and then we were sent back again to Italy, where my last child was born, a boy. He is now almost 51 years old, and my oldest is 67 years old.
Have you been back to Hinckley many times in your
yes.
time? You
have. Absolutely.
Well, what now bringing it all up to present day, you're here now. What do you think of the changes that you've seen from your previous visits? Because I'm sure there must be quite a lot.
Oh, it just boggles my mind when I saw Bennett's place being torn down and your new mall there. Oh my, I couldn't believe it. And your new leisure centre?
Yeah.
Oh, my word. Yeah.
So there's lots and lots of changes, you see. I mean,
absolutely.
Like Sketchley disappearing and places like that.
Sketchley,
Yeah, Sketchley's gone too, yeah.
I can't quite believe it, really. Yeah. But it's wonderful to see progress. Yeah.
Yes, I think this has to be echoed. I think a lot of us, we sort of mourn the past and some of the things, but we have to move forward as well.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't stay in the past as much as it's very comforting.
No, and I'm not one to see old barns being torn, almost to the ground. They should tear them down and build something decent. I'm not saying that the buildings themselves. I think that you should refurbish them and let them stand as they were. Yeah. I think that's a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, when do you go home?
On Monday.
You go Monday, so so this is your last big gig, is it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we've been here 2 weeks. We've been here 2 weeks now. Yeah.
Oh, that's great, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a big round of applause for our guest this evening. I think it's absolutely marvellous.